What if I told you that fear and faith are both beliefs, but you decide which one you want to give power to? What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Motivate with Marlon. And today we are going to talk about fear. Have you ever had the fear of starting? Have you ever had the fear of failure? Whatever it may be, fear is a big topic that keeps people from getting to where they need to go. So we're going to talk about this on today. Faith says, I believe that I can do it. Fear says, I believe that I can't do it. Which one are you putting your power into? Starting off, I know doing this YouTube thing, getting back on, I was really fearful of the outcome. And because I was so fearful of the outcome, it just led to procrastination. I learned that whenever you are about to do something great that God has given you, fear always kicks in. So how do we combat that? So first, it all depends on what you're filling yourself up with. First, we're going to start off with words, because a lot of us shoot down our dreams and we talk ourselves out of things with our own words. Not anybody else's words, but telling ourselves, okay, I don't have enough resources. I don't have all the money. I can't do it. Nobody will watch me. I went through the same thing with starting YouTube. Whenever God has given you a divine idea for success, fear always comes and tries to attack that. That is how the devil works. It's no coincidence that whenever you're about to start that business, whenever you are about to decide to go to school, whenever you are about to start in this new career path, that fear kicks in. It's not just your mind, it's the enemy working on your mind to try to get you to talk yourself out of what you know you are supposed to do. So when fear kicks in, what happens? We start to second guess ourselves. We start to think we're not even worthy. When I decided to start this YouTube channel, right before I started, fear kicked in. Instantly, before I recorded any video, fear came in. It's like, okay, I don't think people will watch this. And I was so caught up on the outcome that I didn't put my hope and my faith in just the obedience of God told me to do this. So a lot of times we let fear control our minds because we are so worried about an outcome. Will people watch me? Will I have any clients? Will I get a lot of views? Will I get a lot of likes? When you shift your focus from worrying about the outcome to I'm going to do this because God told me to do it, that is when you will start seeing peace and fulfillment. I'm a perfectionist, so I like to dot my I's and cross my T's. I don't like to do anything unless everything is lined up, unless everything is right, timing is perfect. And a lot of times, we as people, we hide behind that idea of being a perfectionist, and it causes us not to start or move at all. And what that really is fear. It's because we talk ourselves out of things in our own minds, but then out of our words we say, I'm going to do it when the time is right. Or I'm going to do it when this is lined up. I'm going to do it when I have enough money. No, you're never going to do it. I seen a quote that says, if you wait for the time to be right, it will never be right. So whatever God has given you, today is the time to start. I'm here to tell you right now that today is the time to start that business. Today is the time to start that YouTube channel. Today is the time to go back to school and get that degree. Whatever that may be for you, today is the time to start. Why put off tomorrow what you can do today? A lot of us have the fear of the unknown. And I have this fear too. And what I mean by that is the what ifs. Whenever God gives you something, it's always okay, but what if this happens? But God, what if this happens? And I do the same thing. I question God all the time about the things He has called me to do, not realizing that the outcome is not up to me, but the outcome is up to God. The only thing that I can control is my obedience and carrying out what God has called me to carry out. I want you to think about something for 1 second. What if on the other side of fear is that open door? What if on the other side of fear is that blessing? What if on the other side of fear is that opportunity that you need? But because we let fear kick in, we don't even show up to that door or that room or that place that God has called us to be, because we've already told ourselves in our mind that we cannot do it. I don't care if nobody has done it before. I don't care if nobody in your family has done it before. I don't care if you've never seen anybody do what God has called you to do. When you have a God said, that is all the access that you need. That is the green light. That's the go ahead. That's the moment. That's all you need. That is the greatest cosign for God to give you something, whether it's in your dreams, whatever it may be, for God to give you that vision. That is the only cosign you need. A lot of times we look around and let what we see determine what God told us. And that is a no-no. God has told me a whole bunch of things, but the moment I look and see that my situation is not lining up with what God told me is the moment that I back down. That's the moment that I shrink back. That's the moment where I no longer want to do it. I don't care what your parents said. I don't care what your teacher said. I don't care what your aunts and your uncle said. Whoever in your life who may be speaking against what God gave you. You know what God told you to do. You know what God told you to start. Don't you dare let outside voices or outside opinions talk you down from doing what God has called you to do. Miles Monroe once said, "The greatest ideas in the whole world are in the graveyard." That's deep. That is deep. That is deep. The greatest ideas in the world are in the graveyard. That means that God gave so many people so many great ideas, visions, creations, innovations, all of these different things that many people didn't start. Many people did not carry out. Why? Because of fear. Fear does not just kick in before you start something, but it also kicks in after you start something. How many of us have started something that God has told us to start, and because we have not seen an instant benefit of our labor or an instant fruit or an instant result, that we start to back down? Well, God, you said this. God, why it's not working? God, why the client's not coming in? God, why I'm not getting likes? God, why nobody see me? That is where fear kicks in also. You have to be more obsessed with obedience more than the outcome. Jesus. You have to be more obsessed with obedience than the outcome. What do you mean by that? What I mean by that is the outcome is up to God. I don't care how many likes I get. I don't care how many people view the video. I don't care how many clients I get. When God tells me to do a thing, I need to be so obsessed with just being obedient that I don't care about the outcome. God, He handles the outcome. I'm doing it because God has told me to do it. And when we get to that mind state that I'm doing this out of obedience, that's when you will see peace. That's when you will see fulfillment. That's when you will be content. A lot of us stress our own selves out because we worry about the outcome. And when we start something and we don't see any immediate results, we instantly get discouraged. Until the day we die, fear will always be present. What if I told you that? And I know that's hard to kind of understand, like, okay, every time I want to start something, fear is going to be present. Yes, Pastor Darius Daniels said that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is doing it while scared. Courage is doing it while scared. So what separates the great person from the average person is because some people think that the greats, the millionaires, the people that are successful, some people think that they had it made. Some people think that they just did it. The road was plain, the road was clear. They didn't have no setbacks, they didn't have no failures, anything like that. What if I told you that the only difference is they did it while they were scared? But we get scared and we do not move at all. We make no movement. And when you allow fear to take over your mind and when you allow fear to talk you out of doing things, what happens is you will look up. And by the time you look up a year from now, months from now, 2 years from now, whatever the time may be, you'll look up and you will be in the same position that you was a year ago. You'll be in the same position that you was 3 years ago. Fear leads to procrastination. The longer you wait to try to figure things out, the longer you wrestle with fear, what happens is you end up putting it on the back burner. You end up procrastinating. And when you procrastinate, you never get around to doing what you said you were going to do. You cannot run away from fear. You have to run head on. You have to run head on. And especially for the people that have a fear of failing. I had a fear of failing. And I had to realize that you do not learn anything from winning. You don't learn anything from winning, but you learn everything from losing. I'm gonna say that again. You don't learn anything from winning, but you learn everything from losing. It's in those setbacks that you learn what you need to work on. It's in those mistakes that you learn what you need to fix for the next time. It's in those losses that you learn what you need to do to win. So why do we run? Why are we scared of losing? Why are we scared of failing? I know it sounds cliche, but every loss is a lesson. I know you hear that all the time, but it's the truth. How do I know how to win if I never lost? How can I be a real winner if I never lost? You have two lenses that you can look out of. You can look out of faith or you can look out of fear. Faith says I can do it. Faith says I know what I see right now doesn't match up with what God told me, but I still can do it. Faith says I don't have a lot of money right now, but I can use what I have. Faith says I don't have a lot of resources, but I can still do it. Fear says I'm not qualified. Fear says I'll do it when I'm ready. Fear says I don't have a lot of experience. Which lens are you looking out of today? Something that we have to realize is that the window of opportunity will not always be there. I found myself in a place where I always told myself, I'm not gonna do it right now, I'll do it when I'm ready. Not realizing that opportunity won't always be right there. That opportunity is not promised. Tomorrow is not promised. At that, The only thing promised in this life is death. I seen a quote and the man said, what if when you get to heaven and you meet God, he shows you all the things you could have done and all the potential that you had? That's crazy. That is crazy. I want to leave earth empty with everything God has called me to do. I don't have time to let fear talk me out of what I know I'm supposed to do here. A lot of our fear comes from doing things beyond our comfort level. So what I mean by that is, think about a person that can't swim. Whenever they get to a pool, they don't ever jump in. They'll stand, they'll look at the water because they know they can't swim. And they automatically think about the bad things that might happen. What if I told you that a lot of our fear is built on what ifs? A lot of our fear is built on might. We always try to calculate all the what can happen if I do this? What can go wrong? If you're in a helicopter and the helicopter is crashing, but you have your parachute on, you're high up in the air, and in order for you to live, you need to jump out. Are you going to let your fear of jumping out cost you your life? That's the same thing with fear. What if I told you that God was your parachute? So why not jump? When you feel that moment of fear, when you feel that moment of being scared, that is the very moment where you need to jump in. On the other side is life. On the other side is a blessing. On the other side is success. But you would never know if you stay in that same spot. I found out that most of the things that I was afraid to do, on the other side was so much peace and it was so much happiness. Now, what if I never decide to do that thing? That very thing that you might be scared of can be the one thing to change your life. Are you going to let that fear limit you? Are you going to let that fear hold you back from doing what you've been called to do? As I'm speaking, I know you already have something on your mind that God has told you to start, but you were fearful to start. Get that thing. Take 1 second. Think about it. The world needs you. The world needs your ideas. The world needs your creativity. So today is the perfect time to start exactly what you know you are supposed to start. That's it for another episode with Motivate with Marlon. I hope you guys got something out of this video. Please leave a like, please subscribe, leave a comment, and also send to a friend who you know is dealing with a lot of fear. Don't forget to do it scared. God has called us to be strong and courageous. Again, that means that you can do it through fear. And the only way we can do that through fear is because he's right there with us every step of the way, holding our hand. So be at peace today. Be at peace knowing that God has the control of the outcome. God has the control of the result. All that we can control is being obedient to what he has called us to do. So he's holding your hand in the process. Just continue to take that step forward. Don't forget that you are the head, not the tail. You are above and not beneath. And you are a lender and not a borrower. Until next time,